American land law is heavily based on English feudal law, inheriting its complex categories and concepts like tenure, but the U.S. system has evolved, eliminating direct feudal obligations like service to a lord and developing unique features, though vestiges of medieval property rules remain, especially in landlord-tenant law. Concepts like fee simple or absolute ownership, life estates, and leaseholds come from English law. While the Revolution was supposed to end Crown control, the underlying framework of property rights and interests in land stems directly from British common law, creating a system that's functionally different but structurally related to its origins, and administered by foreign agents of the Crown called esquires or attorneys.
The demons are feeding for energy. I keep destroying my enemies, returning the out of this enemy. Cut off the handiest enemy. The heaters are feeding for energy. I'ma destroy him with energy. Ain't no breaking up enemy. I'm returning your energy. The demons are feeding for energy. I keep destroying my enemies, returning the out of this enemy. Cut off the handiest enemy. The heaters are feeding for energy. I'ma destroy him with energy. Ain't no breaking up enemy. I'm returning your energy.
Welcome back to G-Bound Republic. Tonight, we reveal the foreigners who sold out America. It's my pleasure to bring this presentation to you. I've been wanting to bring it to you for a long time now, and I feel like the time is right because a lot of people, we've been under the impression here in America that United States is supposed to be America first, right? But if you know anything about the history of the United States, we know that United States invaded America, right? So there was an America before there was a United States. So all the immigrant nations that make up the United States, therefore, are foreign to America, right? So let's make that distinction right now. There's a lot of other foreign relations that come into play with America, the American Republic, and the United States democracy, which is also foreign to the American Republic, right? But we're going to cover something specific because it must be known, it has to be known, as basic civics, that the United States is not American. Okay, so let's get that through your head. I don't care what your history teachers have taught to you, what you've been indoctrinated to believe. You have to understand that prior to 1776, America stood as its own sovereign nation. Americans stand still as our own sovereign nation. Okay? So, I'm going to get into this. You're going to have to keep up. If you're interested, take notes. I suggest you take notes. I tell you, you're going to have to watch this video 5-10 times. Take several notes because the truth is in black and white. It doesn't need any defense. And people can argue with the truth and the facts of everything if they want to. You can argue with your feelings, the cognitive dissonant feeling that you have when you come across this information that threatens your white supremacy, your black nobility supremacy, whatever kind of hangups you got about this information, because the truth tells all. And we all deserve to be disclosed to the truth, because I don't know about you, but I'm sick of motherfuckers lying to me. I'm sick of motherfuckers not explaining why Israel's first, why Great Britain and England are first, why Africa's first, why all these other nations are first, right? So you're about to learn a lesson today that I don't believe many of you knew. And I hope to bring you a lot of remedy with this video, but truth is remedy all in itself, all in together, because once you've been made aware of the truth, then it's up to you to do something about it, right? But I hope you have more courage than what these United States citizens are displaying nowadays, because we had an event happen here. It's January the 12th of 2026, Gregorian calendar. We had an incident happen here recently where a woman was gunned down by an ICE agent, right? And I'll say she allegedly was gunned down because there's a lot of things going on in America, and we can't tell what's true from the real, can't tell the real from the fake now. So we're going to say allegedly, right? But in a response to this woman being gunned down in broad daylight in an American neighborhood, right? In response to that, people threw snowballs at these murderers, at these ICE agents. So a man could shoot a woman in the face 3 times, call her a fucking bitch before she crashes and perishes, and the response is snowballs. You gotta be kidding me, right? I thought this was the land of the free and the home of the brave. What type of shit y'all want? You know what I'm saying? Because when white women lied about us harming them, doing anything to them in any kind of way, our whole communities got burned down, right? We were exiled from our own land, right? On little white lies. It wasn't even the truth. But there were mobs of men that would hang us, wipe out women, children. It didn't matter, right? So where's that same smoke for a man that actually kills a woman on camera, right? Kills this so-called white woman on camera. Where's that same energy at, right? Or does it matter? It doesn't matter with white on white crime. Is that what it is? I don't know. Y'all tell me, because I'm kind of confused. But I don't want to get off topic because we got bigger fish to fry right now. So if you consider yourself one of the free, one of the brave, I suggest you come follow Lolo for a minute down this rabbit hole and take a look at what we got, right? So we're going to jump into the Foreign Agent Registration Act of 1938. And today, I'm about to prove to you that every attorney, every public official, I don't matter who they are foreign agents, right? They're agents of a foreign principal, right? And you might ask, okay, well, if they're agents of a foreign principal, who's the foreign principal, right? You might ask that. And that'd be a great question for you to ask. So look, let's take a look at the definition of foreign principal real quick. Here, let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So this is the Foreign Agent Registration Act, 1938, right? The 75th Congress. So let's go. Let's go down here. The term foreign principal includes a government of a foreign country and a foreign political party. 2, a person outside of the United States, unless it is established that such person is an individual and a citizen of and domiciled within the United States, or that such person is not an individual and is organized under or created by the laws of the United States or of any state or other place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and has its principal place of business within the United States. And number 3, a partnership, association, corporation, organization, or other combination of persons organized under the laws of or having its principal place of business in a foreign country. Right? So what's an agent of a foreign principal? Right? Expect as provided in subsection D hereof, the term agent of a foreign principal means any person who acts as an agent, representative, employee, or servant, or any person who acts in any other capacity at the order, request, or under the direction or control of a foreign principal, or of a person, any of whose activities are directly or indirectly supervised, directed, controlled, financed, or subsidized in whole or in a major part by a foreign principal, and who directly through any other person, one, engages with the United States in political activities for or in the interest of such foreign principal. Two, acts within the United States as a public relations counsel, publicity agent, information service employee, or political consultant for or in the interest of such foreign principal. Three, within the United States, solicits, collects, disperses, or dispenses contributions, loans, money, or other things of value for or in the interest of such foreign principal. Or four, within the United States, represents the interests of such foreign principal before any agency or official of the government of the United States. And two, any person who agrees, consents, assumes, or purports to act as or who is or holds himself out to be, whether or not pursuant to contractual relationship, an agent of a foreign principal as defined in Clause 1 of this section. So you see, that this shit goes deep. Just by reading this section alone, you see that this opens up a whole can of worms. It opens up a whole can of worms when it comes to a few of our institutions that we know are foreign to America, right? One of those institutions would be the International Monetary Fund, right? Another one will be the Federal Reserve, right? The Federal Reserve as well. And then these two that are listed, the Crown, right? Because what's the law of the land? People talk about the law of the land, but what is the law of the land? The Constitution, right? And the treaties associated with the Constitution, right? That's what we say, right? So if it's the law of the land, what's the law of the land here on American soil? It's English feudal land law. So it's run through who? It's run through the Crown, right? It's run as British common law. And who else? What's the other form of law that's here in America, right? Civil law. Well, civil law is Roman civil law. Roman civil law is instituted by who? None other than the Roman Catholic Church. So right here we have our so-called church and state, or our bastardization of church and state, because the real church and state is the body, right? The woman, the divine feminine represents the temple, represents the church. And the divine masculine, the man, represents the state or the state of mind, right? And so together, in unison, you birth what? You birth what? You birth creation, you birth life, right? So that's why the agenda here in America is to separate church and state. But you people that read your Bibles, take this thing literal. And it's not to be taken literal. None of this stuff is literal. I'll tell you, it's been bastardized. It has a whole other meaning that has not been explained to you properly because these people are being paid to not explain it to you properly. So you must open up your mind and be free from the deceit that has been taking place, that has been placed upon you. All right? All right, so we go jump to the next one. All right, so that being said, all sheriffs, attorneys, judges, and other persons who took an oath, made an affirmation, or other formal declaration of allegiance are public officials, agents of foreign principles who are required by law 22 United States Code, subsection 612, to provide public records to we the people in order to validate their actions or inactions in public interest, which include prior to and while commencing their public duties. Right? This is not up for debate. Okay, so let's break it down again. Foreign principles will be who? Directly the United States, state agencies, political subdivisions, right? Because these so-called principles, who are their principles? Because actually all of these are agents. The foreign principles, like we seen in the previous slides, are the crown, right? And who handles the contracts pertaining to law, pertaining to land law? Isn't it all the attorneys? Isn't it these so-called esquires, the lawyers? Yes, they handle all the contracts pertaining to land law. So they are what? Agents of a foreign principal, because the principal is the crown. The people that run the English feudal law system, land law system, right? So it's still under British common law. So let's not be fooled. Let's not be deceived. So United States, state agency, political subdivisions, the trickle down to these agents are public officials, public officers or employees, public servants, and constitutional officers, all foreign agents. All right, so I'm going to do Ohio because that's where I'm at. But in your state's revised code, just go look up the meaning of public body, and it'll pull up your code section here, and it'll give you the following answer. Public body means any of the following: any board, commission, committee, council, or similar decision-making body of a state agency, institution, or authority, and any legislative authority or board, commission, committee, council, agency, authority, or similar decision-making body of any county, township, municipal corporation, which is a court, school district, or other political subdivision or local public institution. Right? So let's not be fooled when we talk about the school district, people with decision-making authority in school districts, right? All right, agency. I know it might be a little hard for you to read on your screen. This is, again, the Ohio Revised Code, section 119.01, agency. And again, look this up in your state. I'm sure you have it. I'm positive you have it. All right, except as limited by this division, any official board or commission having authority to promulgate rules or make adjudications in the Civil Service Commission, the Division of Liquor Control, the Department of Taxation, the Industrial Commission, the Bureau of Workers' Compensation, the functions of any administrative or executive officer, department, division, bureau, board, or commission of the government of the state specifically made subject to sections 119.01 to 119.13 of the Revised Code, and the licensing function of any administrative or executive officer, department, division, bureau, board, or commission of the government of the state having authority or responsibility of issuing, suspending, revoking, or canceling licenses. Right? So this is what agency is. So I'm hoping we're getting a clear picture painted for us. Okay, so we're going to look at the effects of taking an oath of office, right? So question, what are the effects of taking an oath of office? The answer is loss of nationality. Pursuant to Title 8, United States Code, Section 1481, A2, loss of nationality by native-born or naturalized citizen, voluntary action, burden of proof, presumptions. A person who is a national of the United States, whether by birth or naturalization, shall lose his nationality by voluntarily performing any of the following acts with the intention of relinquishing United States nationality. And part 2, we're not going to get into 1, we're going to go straight to part 2. Taking an oath or making an affirmation or other formal declaration of allegiance to a foreign state, or a political subdivision thereof after having attained the age of 18 years. Okay, so foreign state, right? Allegiance of a foreign state. Well, you got to understand again, United States is a foreign state, right? The Federal Reserve is a foreign political subdivision, right? The International Monetary Fund is a foreign political subdivision. It's a foreign entity, right? The Crown is a foreign government. British common law is a foreign political party, right? The Roman Catholic Church. You get what I'm saying? Are we catching on to what I'm saying here? All right, moving forward. Public office. Ohio Revised Code 149.011 includes any state agency, public institution, political subdivision, or other organized body, office, agency, institution, or entity established by the laws of this state for the exercise of any function of government. Right? Okay, public official includes all officers, employees, or duly authorized representatives or agents of a public office. Public servant, right? This is from Ohio Revised Code 2921.01b. Means any public official, any person performing ad hoc, a governmental function, including but not limited to a juror, member of a temporary commission, master, arbitrator, advisor, or consultant. 3. A person who is a candidate for public office, whether or not the person is elected or appointed to the office for which the person is a candidate. And part 3, that goes on if you like to go to your code section and read on, what all that entails. But I just gave you the basics of what those positions entail. So we're going to skip to political propaganda. Now, this definition isn't found at 22 United States Code 611, but this is a definition of political propaganda. And this is very important for you to understand. Okay? So, political propaganda. Political propaganda is defined as a form of public opinion manipulation that involves creating a specific narrative to align with political agenda. It often includes the dissemination of false information to advance a political cause. This manipulation can involve various techniques, including the use of facts, arguments, rumors, and lies to influence public perception and behavior. Okay, so this is their license to lie to you. This is not a game, okay? This is not a game. They have a license to lie to you through their political propaganda. And why? Because they're foreign propagandists under foreign agent registration. They're a foreign propagandists. You can go to 22 United States Code and pull it up. You will see for yourself what the deal is. So, if this is a form of public opinion manipulation, public opinion manipulation. So they're trying to sway you, right? They're manipulating you, but it's for specific narratives, right? What are these specific narratives? What do you think? A lot of these specific narratives are your advertisement. When they're advertising their law firms, when they're advertising their businesses' products, right? Because advertising the gross national product is a form of political propaganda, because we're talking about the gross national product, right? So it encompasses everything that's sold in the United States. There's no getting around it. So when you look at a Tide commercial, they're selling you based off of political propaganda. When you go and look at a Wells Fargo commercial pitching you a 2% interest rate on a loan, you are looking at political propaganda, because there's nowhere in any banking regulation that gives banks or credit unions the power or authority to loan money. I dare anybody to try to prove me wrong in that area. Show me the legislation where banks or credit unions have the authority to loan money. I want to see it. It's all propaganda. It's all political propaganda. Anything you see being advertised on the television is political propaganda, whether you know it or not, whether you want to like it, understand it, believe it or not. All right. So, under 22 United States Code, subsection 11, the term foreign principal includes a government of a foreign country and a foreign political party. We looked at that earlier, right? So we're going to skip around a little bit to a few other definitions, and we're going to see we're going to reveal the inconsistencies of some words in the wordplay that goes on within these codes, right? So 22 United States Code 456 in the definition section says, the term state shall include nation, government, and country, right? Nation, government, and country. All states of the Union are foreign states with respect to the federal government legislative jurisdiction, and therefore are lowercase. So, when it comes to recognizing a federal area or a federal jurisdiction or federal legislative jurisdiction of the United States, the states can be spelled with a lowercase letter at the beginning. So it would be the lowercase s for the state of Michigan, lowercase s for the state of Ohio, or whatever the state is. State will be spelled with a lowercase. All right, so we're going to go now to 28 United States Code 3002 definitions. And I hear people all the time that want to argue about the status of the United States. I keep telling people this is not a country, because it's not a country, right? This is a corporate conglomerate. This is a corporation. But don't believe me. Let's look at the screen. 15, United States means a federal corporation. B, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States. Or C, an instrumentality of the United States. So that's what United States means, right? So a lot of times people would like to play semantics with you and tell you, this is private. Oh, this is a private debt. We don't honor these United States code that was made based on this debt being a private debt. You can't exercise something within these code sections, right? Well, Part B says an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States. So if you got chartered to do business or you got registered to do business in the United States, either you're an instrumentality of the United States or what? You're under the laws created by the United States. So there's no getting around this shit, really. There's no getting around it. I don't care what kind of semantics people try to pull on you. It's very good, very beneficial for you to know this information. So they can't pull one over on you because it's all in black and white. So you let them argue with the truth and you keep standing on 10. You feel me? All right, so we're going to jump to Title 4, United States Code, subsection 110. Now the definition of state here is something different. Check it out. But then we're also going to jump into federal area. And watch how the tricky shit gets, right? The term state includes any territory or possession of the United States. All right, E. The term federal area means any lands or premises held or acquired by or for the use of the United States or any department, establishment, or agency, or the United States in any federal area or any part thereof, which is located within the exterior boundaries of any state, shall be deemed to be a federal area located within such state. So did you hear that? You hear that? So all of these areas are technically federal areas because every state is a federal franchisee of the United States. So they're all federal areas. Every state is a federal area. State of Ohio, state of Michigan, state of Kentucky, state of whatever, they're all federal areas. All right, so let's jump to the meat now. We done talked about registration statements and everything, right? So let's jump to the meat of it. All right, 22 United States Code, subsection 612, registration statement. No person shall. Oh, and be sure you're taking notes, and be sure you're going and you're also going and following along. If you can pull this up, go ahead, search it. I would download it if I were you. Follow along with me, because I'm not going to jump into all the requirements that they have to have along with this registration statement. I'm just going to give you this part, and then you can go do your due diligence on the rest, right? No person shall act as an agent of a foreign principal unless he has filed with the Attorney General a true and complete registration statement and supplements thereto as required by subsections A and B of this section, or unless he is exempt from the registration under the provisions of this chapter. Side note, none of them are exempt. All right, except as herein provided, every person who becomes an agent of a foreign principal shall, within 10 days thereafter, file with the Attorney General in duplicate a registration statement under oath on a form prescribed by the Attorney General. The obligation of an agent of a foreign principal to file a registration statement shall, after the 10th day of his becoming such agent, continue from day to day, and termination of such status shall not relieve such agent from his obligation to file a registration statement for the period during which he is an agent of a foreign principal. The registration statement shall include the following, which shall be regarded as material for the purpose of this subchapter. Right? So if you go and you're following along, well, here, look, we can jump to it real quick. So give me 1 second. We'll just scroll down here. Right? So this is where we were. Oh, look, I'm glad we're right here, though. Hold on, before we get down to the nitty-gritty, there's another thing that people like to bring up all the time, and they don't understand the separation between the United States and the American Republic, right? So hold on. First, we're going to look up the term registration statement, which means the registration statement required to be filed with the Attorney General under Section 2A hereof, and any supplements thereto required to be filed under Section 2B hereof, and includes all documents and papers required to be filed therewith or mandatory thereof or supplemental thereto, whether attached thereto or incorporated therein by reference. All right, the term American Republic includes any of the states which were signatories to the final act of the second meeting of ministers of foreign affairs of the American Republics at Havana, Cuba, July 30th, 1940. This is the American Republic. All right? So to all you people talking about there's no difference between the United States and the American Republic. America and United States are two different entities. The term United States, when used in a geographical sense, includes the several states, the District of Columbia, territories, canal zone, and insular possessions, and all other places now are hereafter subject to the civil or military jurisdiction of the United States. All right? Do you see the distinction? You have a choice whether you want to reside in the American Republic. So if you don't know what these states are, go look at the states, which were signatory to the final act of the second meeting, right? The American republics. All right, so look, I'm gonna scroll down. So, all right, here was our registration. This is section 612. This is the part I just previously read to you on the slide. So the purpose of this act, this is all the stuff that is necessary for them. They have to record their name, principal business address, and all other business addresses in the United States or elsewhere, and all residence addresses, if any, right? These people don't want you knowing where they live at. You think they got these on file for real? All the treason and all the bullshit they doing, you think they got this shit on file? Status of the registrant, if an individual, nationality, if a partnership, name, residence, addresses, and nationality of each partner, and a true, complete copy of its articles of co-partnership, if an association, corporation, organization, or any other combination of individuals, the name, residence, addresses, and nationality of each of their director and officer of each of their person performing the functions of a director or officer, and a true and complete copy of his charter, articles of incorporation, association, constitution, and bylaws, and amendments thereto, a copy of every other instrument or document, and a statement of the terms and conditions of every oral agreement relating to its organization, power, and purposes, and a statement of its ownership and control. And like I said, this goes on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll let you go. You go do your due diligence and read through that, because there's a lot of good meat in there. There's a lot of good meat around that bone. And I suggest you go find it and eat. You feel me? All right, so moving right along. All right, this is the Privacy Act statement, right? So the Privacy Act statement says as follows. The filing of this document is required for Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938, as amended 22 United States Code, subsection 611, et sec, for the purposes of registration under the Act and public disclosure. Provision of the information requested is mandatory, and failure to provide the information is subject to the penalty and enforcement provisions established under Section 8 of the Act. Every registration statement, short form registration statement, supplemental statement, exhibit, amendment, copy of informational materials, or other document or information filed with the Attorney General under this Act is a public record open to public examination. All right, so when you go to pull these people's registration statements, right, what you're going to hear is, oh, well, I don't know where you're going to get the runaround. I don't know where we would find such a thing. I don't know where you find that. Oh, I don't know who the custodian is to keep those records. When this is telling you exactly who's to keep it, right? So it's filed with the Attorney General. So where would you start? All right? Okay, so we're going to go into a little case law as far as this registration statement goes, because a lot of the times what you're going to hear from these lying-ass attorneys is that, oh, I'm not required to file a registration statement. I'm exempt from that. When you go and look at the exemption list or the list of requirements to be considered exempt, none of them fit. None of them fit the bill for what exempt from the registration statement requires it. They're not exempt from this. Everybody has to file. Okay, so this United States Supreme Court case was Rabinowitz-Kennedy, right? 1964, number 287, right? It was decided on March 2nd, 1964. Decided on March 30th, 1964. All right, so this is quoted from the Supreme Court, y'all. We hold for the reasons stated below that the Foreign Agent Registration Act plainly and unquestionably requires petitioners to register. Since we conclude that the Court of Appeals was correct in ordering the case dismissed, but for reasons other than those relied upon in its opinion, we do not pass upon the reasoning by which that court arrived at its decision, nor do we have occasion to consider the scope of the declaratory judgment remedy or the sovereign immunity doctrine, right? So, I'm going to move on. We conclude, therefore, that petitioners, attorneys representing a foreign government in legal matters, including litigation, are not exempt from registering under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. Okay, so petitioners, attorneys representing a foreign government in legal matters. So if they're representing the state in a foreign matter, right? If they're representing anybody as far as a public entity or a public official goes, if they're representing somebody involving civil land law, right? Or feudal land law, civil law, regardless of what it is, they're representing what? A foreign government, right? You're representing British common law. That's a foreign government in legal matters. You're representing somebody in a civil law case. You're representing somebody in Roman civil law, which is foreign. It's foreign, especially all of this shit is foreign to what? Universal divine law, God's law, right? The Elohim, right? The Ten Commandments, right? The scriptures, the Holy Scriptures, right? That's the law. All this other stuff, this legal shit, it's foreign. All right, so we're jumping into custodians, right? Custodians of the records, right? So these are the where you go or what you can require from the public request. Okay, so the custodians of the records are required to furnish the following public records. And these are public records and they're required to do so, right? All right, so 1, record of commissions, oath and acceptance, proof regarding loss of nationality pursuant to 8 United States Code 1481. Hence, public officials are operating as agents of foreign principals. 2, fidelity, hazardous or performance bonds, public official officer bond or bond insurance. All right. 3, foreign agent registration statement, including the amendment or supplemental statements or whatever documents there too. 4, anti-bribery statements, right? It's another public record request. Financial information, right? You can see, okay, are you being paid by somebody that you may be involved in a conflict of interest? Okay, IRS Form W-9 information. You can request a taxpayer identification number and certification ethics training disclosures. Identification number and certification. The next public record request is ethics training and disclosures. So you can ask what type of training, where's your training? I need to know how you were trained as an officer to have you approach me the way you did, and who trained you to do that? You broke the window to my vehicle at a traffic stop. So I need to know what kind of ethics training you had to train you to do such a thing. All right, so the last one, books of account and other records with request to all activities pursuant to 22 United States Code, subsection 615. So these are all foreign relations. These are public requests for everything foreign relations. If you don't know what Title II of the United States Code is, it's nothing but foreign relations. It governs foreign relations and intercourse. If you don't know what intercourse means, besides, you getting your dick wet, it's business, it's commerce, it's service, right? So foreign relations and business covering the operations of the State Department, diplomatic missions, passport issuance, foreign assistance programs, international security, laws concerning U.S. citizens abroad, things of that nature. While Title 22 of the Code of Federal Regulations details related rules, including foreign aid and Voice of America, is distinct from California's Title 22, which deals with social services and health facilities. So, Title 22 deals with everything as far as passport, citizenship, diplomatic and consular services, right? Foreign assistance programs, international security, foreign agents, and propaganda, right? And yeah, you heard it right, foreign agents and propaganda. All right, so we're going to move on. We're at the end, y'all. We're at the end. Okay, so the key takeaway to take away from all of this is regardless of who initiated the contract, if the public official or officials, agents, or agent of a foreign principal or foreign principals fail to perform their duties and or insist on contracting without providing the following documents listed, the said public official or agent agrees that jurisdiction has not been properly established. And this will be perfect to put inside your documentation, your presentments when you're sitting into any of these public officials to get any of your remedies done, right? Hence, agrees that said public officials, agent or agents will be in violation of the Foreign Corruption Practices Act and any other violation deemed suitable, right? And you can go to Section 8 of the Foreign Agent Registration Act and look at all the different remedies for violations of this act. I'm not going to do that homework for you either. You can go and check that out. But, it's important for you to go do your own due diligence, do your own digging, and do your own work when it comes to this stuff. You're going to develop a sense of pride when you go and you're figuring this shit out for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's easy for me to tell it to you, and okay, you listen to a video and okay, it sounds good, and you've probably taken in a lot of information, but until you can go get the shit for yourself and you dig it out, it's not going to give you that same sense of pride as it would, like I said, somebody just giving you the information. Sure, I want you to take notes. I want you to watch this video repeatedly. And then once you go and do your due diligence, you're going to find jewels that I intentionally left out because I'm not going to do everything for you. I want you to go look and check it out because I did. And once I found this shit, it just gave me more motivation to learn more about what's really going on so I can sit back and make informed decisions about actions that I want to take or I don't want to take when involving myself in this system, okay? Because you have a choice. You have all the power, but unfortunately, we've been indoctrinated to give all of our power away, okay? So think about that. Think about that anytime you go and swear an oath to be a juror, right? Are you becoming an agent of a foreign principal when you go and do jury duty? I mean, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions when it comes to this because everything that we think should be straight up and down is everything but. You feel me? So I hope you found some value in this video. I want you to like, the video, share it to your people. I want you to share this video around because, look, they already shadow banning the hell out of my shit. You know, I want to get it to as many people as possible because a lot of people have the right to know what's going on. Just like you want to know what's going on, just like I wanted to know what's going on. Look, somebody shared the information with me, so I'm taking it, sharing the information along, passing along, each one teach one, right? Because all this shit, like I said, is very important. Now, if you have any other questions or need to consult me one-on-one with some things you may be going through or you want to address and you need assistance with addressing, you know, feel free to email me at lolo@gboundrepublic.org and we can have a conversation. You know, I'm not going to charge you for a phone call, but, you know, I think it's important to know that when dealing with me, you're dealing with somebody that actually has hands-on experience in dealing with this stuff, not just making videos about it. You feel me? And it's very important that if you choose to deal with somebody, it don't have to be me, but I would highly suggest myself because I'm telling you, there's nobody that, I won't say there's nobody, but there's very few people that know this, that on the level that they should if they're charging you any money to do anything for you. But if you're choosing somebody, be sure they have experience in actually doing this stuff and not just, okay, getting on a video and teaching it, right? Because teachers, think about it this way. This is how you know the whole system is a scam. The teachers, they teach you all of this shit, right? So you go to school and you have, say, you have a science teacher that's teaching you science. Well, science is a hands-on thing. So yeah, they're demonstrating their acts in science along with the class are actually doing it, right? But when you have somebody teaching you a business management course, right? Or if they're teaching you a stock trading course, but they're not a stock trader, or you're learning business management from somebody that doesn't manage a business, I mean, what are you actually paying for? You're paying for secondhand hearsay. You feel me? Because the people teaching you don't actually have that experience. Me, I got as much experience, like I said, as you will find in someone outside of their political subdivision. And I say that to be funny and shit, but yeah, check it out. This is G-Bound Republic TV. I'm signing out. Be sure you subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned. Go check out the What's the Word playlist. Get updated on your financial literacy words and your definitions that you'll need for the upcoming course, because I'm telling you, this shit is getting deep and I'm excited to bring it to you. Look, also go and check out the United Cap of America playlist because everything, look, I'm telling you, I've left everything behind for you to succeed. I've left you a solid foundation. If you want to know this system inside and out, United Cap of America playlist. I don't care if it hurts your feelings for you to know or find out that, yes, my people are the American Indians. We are the tribal people, the tribal sovereign nations of this land, not no fucking Europeans that paid $5 to become part of our lineage. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if they're federally recognized or not. I don't need federal recognition for me to know who the fuck I am, for me to know who the fuck you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's simple. If you're an immigrant, you're an immigrant. Be proud of your lineage, of where you come from. You know what I'm saying? And stop trying to swag jack, culture vulture on our shit and act like it ain't us. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit played out. That colonization and that identity theft shit, all that shit played out. So, you know, it's the age of Aquarius. Let all the real be known and let all of what's due to the chosen be paid out. Y'all be the fucking best.
Get over to gboundrepublic.store right now and get you some of these dope new styles from our casual and fitness apparel line. Ladies, we have the most unique yoga leggings, yoga shorts, sports bras, athletic and canvas sneakers, and much, much more. Fellas, we have the dopest joggers, men's athletic and canvas sneakers, tracksuits, and plenty more. We also offer lots of unisex apparel, including sports jerseys, t-shirts, mesh shorts, and hoodies. Shop the brand that motivates you to be the best. What are you still doing here? Go now.